Good evening. The regular meeting of the Joint Land Use Board for Lindenwold, Thursday, September 24, 2020 is called to order. I wish to announce that the Open Public Meeting Law, known as the Sunshine Law of 1975, has been complied with. The notice of this meeting was advertised at our reorganization meeting, at which time our official newspapers were notified. Copies are placed on the bulletin board. Okay, everybody please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Nancy, may I please have a roll call?
Mayor Roach.
Here.
Councilwoman Hess.
Here.
Mr. Wells.
Here.
Mr. Vandergrift.
Here.
Ms. Jackson.
Here.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Mr. Poley. Mr. Dawson. Mr. Lankowski.
Here. Next, we have the approval of the minutes from August 27, 2020. May I have a motion?
So moved.
A roll call.
Mayor Roach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vandergrift.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mr. Lankowski.
Yes. Next, we'll go to Kate for a revision on one of our
Resolutions.
resolutions.
Okay, so we're amending the agenda here. I'm actually seeking authorization for the board to authorize a revised resolution for the resolution that we prepared back in April for sensational landscaping, and that was application 20-4. In preparing the latest resolution authorizing the produce stand, it came to my attention that while the former resolution did indicate that that Mayor Roach and Councilwoman Hess did recluse themselves from the use application, on the last page where the voting roll call occurs, the mayor and the councilwoman's names are still listed. So this corrected resolution will simply be deleting their names in the roll call because they did recluse themselves from hearing and acting on that application.
May I have may I have a motion on the revision of the resolution?
Make said motion.
Can I have a second? From the regular member.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Roach.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Hess.
Abstain.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vandergrift.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mr. Lankowski.
Yes. Next is application JLUB 20-6, International Welding Technologies Incorporated, 2650 Egg Harbor Road, Block 271, Lot 1. This is major site plan, preliminary and final to construct 3,000-foot addition to their existing building and a 1,920 square foot pole barn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, David Patterson, representing the applicant before you this evening. At this time, I would ask if we could have sworn our engineer, Mr. Brian Peterman, who's with us, and Mr. Neil Wilkinson, a principal with the business.
Good evening, gentlemen. If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give this evening will be the whole truth?
I do. Mr. Peterman, could you go through your qualifications, please? Certainly. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey with over 35 years of engineering experience, over 25 years of those as a professional engineer, primarily involved in land development engineering, both presenting before municipal boards as well as experience representing boards and townships as municipal engineer. I'm co-owner of Peterman Maxey Associates in Gibbsboro, New Jersey. We are the design engineer in this office, prepared the site plans for the project. Thank you, Mr. Peterman. I would ask that he be recognized and accepted as an expert for testimony this evening.
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Wilkinson, this is Mr. Neil Wilkinson testifying. What is your position with the company?
So I am a co-owner of International Welding and also Director of Operations.
And is it a family-owned business?
Yes, this is a business started by my father.
And what does the business do for the record?
We principally manufacture weldable fasteners, steel, aluminum, mild steel fasteners, and we make the equipment that is used to weld those fasteners.
And is all the work done within the building?
Majority of the work is done within the building with the exception of some plating, which we do outside of a supplier, one of our vendors, up in North Jersey.
And how long have you been at this location in Lindenwold?
In Lindenwold, we've been here since 2008.
And in 2013, you received an approval from the Lindenwold Planning Board at that time for an expansion of this business, correct?
That's correct.
And that's identified in the letter from Mr. Hanson to the board, correct?
Yes.
How many employees do you currently have?
We currently have 14 people.
And is that pretty standard right now?
It is. We've added 2 people recently.
What are your hours of operation?
Normal operation is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's our standard work day. Occasionally we do some work on the weekends, but it's very sporadic.
What type of vehicles do you use in your business?
We have 2 standard Ford pickup trucks, light-duty pickups that are used just to transport our fasteners up to North Jersey and back.
And deliveries to your business, what kind of vehicles and how often?
So we have standard service. We use UPS and we use FedEx for our normal product going out to customers, items coming into us, small items coming into us. And then we also use a number of different carriers, LTL carriers mostly, bring our raw material in.
And would you say your business is local or national or international?
We are international. Both our business is in the U.S. It's across the U.S. We ship out to California. We also ship down to Mexico, up to Canada, and into Europe and the Middle East.
I take it that you really don't have customers come to your business, do you?
No, we are strictly a manufacturer, and our product goes out through distribution.
Reason you are requesting the expansion before the board this evening?
So our business has been growing, thankfully, and in order to keep up with demand from our customers and keep our delivery times within check, we've had to add several pieces of equipment. We've added a couple of new cold heading machines, some thread rolling machines, some trimming machines, all of which require floor space, and they're rather large machines. We literally just ran out of floor space what we have.
Now you're asking for an expansion to the building as well as a pole barn.
Yes, yes.
The expansion to the building, what will that be used for?
That will be used for the manufacturing. We'd like to move our thread rolling operations into that section of the building.
And how about the pole barn?
The pole barn will be for our raw material, which we've had to move into storage containers right now. We had an issue over last winter with actually we had a major theft of our material. We had to move it outside. Somebody broke through, used one of the county trucks, broke our gate down, basically took a bunch of our raw material. So fast forward, we've actually been storing that in 2 roll containers.
So that would be more secure for your operation?
That's more secure, but again, we'd like to get rid of those and have something permanent. That was a temporary solution.
The work you're doing now is the same work that will continue with the expansion, correct?
That's correct.
Well, let me ask you about your handicap parking spaces, since that was raised in Mr. Hanson's letter. Do those 2 parking spaces, handicap parking spaces, remain?
Yes, yes.
And have they been created in accordance with ADA requirements?
Yes, they have been.
I have no other questions for Mr. Wilkinson at this time, and it's certainly opening up to the board for any questions.
Anybody from the board have any questions?
If not, Mr. Chairman, I would turn to Mr. Peterman, and Mr. Peterman, just to save time, I would ask you if you could just go through and explain the plans and the waivers that are being requested. Certainly, and these are also presented in Mr. Hansen's September 22nd review letter.
Brian, do you just want to go through the waivers one by one?
Under the current I-1 industrial zone, and the lot conforms with the zoning criteria as presented. At this time, we are requesting 9 submission waivers, and there are as follows. Waiver from providing the location of any proposed building structures, parking, open spaces, and park or recreation areas, as well as the location of existing building structures, roadways, etc., within 200 feet of the property due to the natural buffering provided by the berm along the eastern property edge of the property. Item 2, waiver from section 139.47E7. Elevation should be referenced to the United States Geologic data, survey data, where an assumed data is each used. Item 3, waiver from section 139.47E 14C. All off-site drainage should be disposed of where only roof drainage is stored. Item 4, waiver from section 139.85A. Sidewalk shall be installed on one or both sides of the street where no sidewalk is proposed along Egg Harbor Road, and that matches the existing conditions up and down Egg Harbor Road. Item 5, waiver from section 205.74B1 and 205.74N1. All parking and loading spaces shall be paved where existing stone parking lot will be utilized and maintained. 6, waiver from section 205.74B as in David. All parking spaces and access drives serving parking areas shall be adequately illuminated during hours between sunset and sunrise, whereas illumination will be utilized as needed during normal business hours. As per the testimony, this is really daytime hours that's used for the facility. Item 7, waiver from checklist item number 13, preliminary architectural floor plans and elevation signed and sealed by an architect licensed in the state of New Jersey, whereas the elevations are prepared by the building manufacturer. This is a steel building that will match the existing. Item 8, waiver from checklist item number 18, phase 1 environmental report, and number 9, waiver from checklist item 19, which is requires a traffic report. These requests have been reviewed by your board engineer, and with his September 22nd, 2020 letter, he has taken no exception to granting the requested relief.
Brian, you said that the number 16 on the checklist, it's mostly daytime hours. I mean, you're going to be there till 5. Is the lighting adequate for employees to get to their cars at night and for security?
So we actually have lighting already installed.
No, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, is the existing lighting and what you're going to put on the new structure is going to be sufficient to meet those requirements?
Yes.
Okay. And then you were going to add in number 17, there was a note that you need to add to the plan regarding covenants and deed restrictions.
Yes, we can add those.
And it looks like the county, number 19, the county didn't request a traffic impact statement in their letter, so we basically refer to them.
I forgot to put this the second time around. September 17th, the county signed off on the application of no interest.
I got that letter
to the board secretary yesterday.
We didn't have any objection to any other waivers, and you said you're going to submit architectural plans prior to building permits, obviously, correct?
Yes, as part of the building permit package, yes.
Okay.
And in regards to the balance of the review comments, we are in receipt of the September 22nd, 2020 review letters prepared and presented by Environmental Resolution. Beyond the specific items of testimony and requests for relief in the form of submission waivers, this office has reviewed the presented comments and take no exception to them and respectfully request the open issues be satisfactorily addressed as a condition of approval. We would be happy to discuss any specific issues that the board or board professionals may have in regard to the presented review comments.
Ryan, I just wanted to go through general site plan comments. I know you answered them in your letter. Number 1 on page 3, the height of the building is 18 feet. Is that correct? The proposed structures are no 18 feet?
Yes, that's for the pole barn.
Okay, and then the other one matches the existing building, I would imagine, or is it the addition?
Yes.
Okay.
The one addition will emulate the back addition that they previously added, so it'll emulate that, which will still be less than ordinance requirement.
Okay, and then item 3, there's no sidewalk there now. There's no sidewalk in that area of Egg Harbor, so we're not recommending requiring sidewalk there. I mean, I think
That is
that's
correct. No sidewalk exists
the
up and
jurisdiction
down
of the
Egg
board.
Harbor, particularly in this area. In fact, yes, when we were there in 2013, we were granted approval at that time without sidewalk.
Same thing, yeah, and I think I put that in the letter, Dave, right? Yeah. That's one of the comments on number 3. Everything else in my letter's been covered by the applicant, unless I'm missing something. If anybody has anything in particular in the letter that they want me to answer or have questions about, I'd be happy to do it.
Jeff, if we could go over the performance standards, because they were the condition for, in the,
Which performance standards, Kate?
for the industrial zone.
Okay.
It says,
Oh, okay, yeah. Industrial zone, I think they just, if you look at the zoning use on page 3 and 4, it lays out the criteria for the I-1 zone uses. Are any of these manufacturing processes that you're going to perform there have noxious, injurious, offensive, or hazardous to the health, inherent characteristics that carry those characteristics that are noxious, injurious, offensive, or hazardous to the health, safety, or general welfare of the community? I think you guys did a pretty good job of laying out what your proposed use and the activities are going to be over there, but you don't, do you find that any of these processes are going to not comply with the requirements of 365, 67B?
No, we will comply with all of those.
Okay.
We're in compliance with them now.
The process, okay, I just wanted to get that on the record, Neil. Nobody was saying that you're not complying with it. We just make sure that the expansion is going to continue in that trend, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah, we're not changing the operation. We're just trying to expand it.
Understood. And then the parking, they have plenty of parking for for what's required in the ordinance, and I think Neil already gave testimony on the van accessible spot. It's going to stay. So that covers everything in my letter. Anything else, Kate?
I just have a question on the ownership of the property. In the application, you put present owner, the name and address of the present owner, you put non-applicable. It made me think that you owned the property. I did check the tax records, and there seems to be another entity that owns it. Could you explain that?
So, I guess technically the property itself is owned by Cassidy, which is also owned by the same owners of International Welding.
Okay. So it's a related...
You just did that to separate the two entities.
Yeah.
So the building is not necessarily owned by International Welding.
Okay, so it's a related company that owns the property.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have any questions from the board? No. Kate, could you go over how...
I have one question.
All right.
Are you going to be adding a security system to the new building also?
I'm sorry, we could not hear the
Are
question.
you going to be adding a security system to the new building as well?
So we don't have a security system per se. We have our facility's locked. So, you know, the reason they were able to breach our facility is because they broke the truck through it the first time. But normally, we lock the gates, we open the gates up in the morning and lock them when the last person leaves in the evening. So the facility is relatively secure. Oh, and we also, additionally, we do have security cameras.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're asking about, Neil. I'm sorry.
Yeah, security cameras.
So you're going to have
like
these...
an alarm system. Because we have 4 security cameras now that are targeted at the front gate and all the sides of the building.
Okay, and that'll cover the expansion area too? You'll be able to see that, I guess?
Yeah, we'll have to move them because
Okay.
the two of the cameras right now where the new building will be. So we'll have to reposition those cameras to be, you know, again to look to view the front gate and the side of the building there.
Okay.
That's a minor move for us.
Do we want them to go back to the police department for that?
I don't think they need to go back to the police department if the system was already approved back then. I'm sure it was, because we've been asking for that since I've been representing the board. Okay, that satisfies it, I believe.
Okay. Any further questions from the board?
Okay,
Hang on. You have to open it to the public. You have to
Oh,
open it.
all right. Can we open to the public? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? All right, motion to close to the public.
okay. The application here this evening is seeking a preliminary and final site plan approval, as well as, I believe, 17, I believe it was 17 either submission or design waivers.
Correct.
Okay, so certainly within the jurisdiction of the board to grant that. It is, as the applicant did testify, or the applicant's attorney did argue, it is a permitted use within the zone. Based on the testimony, it has complied with all the performance standards of an industrial zone. So if the board was inclined to grant this application, there were a couple of conditions that were either brought up in tonight's testimony or that were set forth in the board's engineer's letter. And so they would be, the landscape design needs to be provided and has to meet with the approval of the board's engineer as to the selection of plants and their location. The architectural plans and elevations will be provided to the building code official of the borough for approval prior to the issuance of a building permit. The applicant will comply with the board's engineer letter with regard to items that were to be noted on the plan, such as the deed restrictions, and I think those were the only conditions. We did have testimony that the ADA parking will remain on site, and it does comply, so that does not need to be a condition of approval. So those were the conditions that came up during the course of tonight's hearing or through the review letters that would be conditions for approval, if the board was inclined to do so.
Okay. All right, I'd like to have a motion on application JLUB 20-6. This will include the 17 waivers and conditions which Dave just discussed. Could I have a motion?
So moved. I'll second that.
We have a roll call, please.
Mayor Roach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vandergrift.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mr. Linkowski.
Yes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a nice evening.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, thank you.
Next on our application, JLUB 20-7, that's Muhammad R. Curran at 103A Blackwood Clementon Road, Block 240, Lot 28-01. This is a change in use, empty unit to a pizzeria.
Chairman, would you like to give me like me to give a summary of the application before we get started?
Yes, I would.
Can we make sure the applicants, let's make sure the applicants
here.
Yes, we're here.
Okay, all right. Yes,
We are
please.
here.
Okay, I'll give a quick summary of the application before the applicant gives her testimony. It's an application for a minor site plan change of use for Kareem Pizza Shop, I'm calling it. The applicant proposed the use of an existing empty retail space for a pizza restaurant at 103A Blackwood Clementon Road, that's County Route 534. It's located within a 2-unit existing retail space, with the second space currently being occupied by a Crown Fried Chicken restaurant. There's 18 parking spaces, including 2 handicap spots. No exterior site improvements are proposed, according to what's been submitted by the applicant, and an existing and proposed floor plan was submitted to display what the interior changes are going to be. It's on the north side, it fronts the north side of Blackwood Clementon Road within the B1 Neighborhood Business Zoning District. Restaurants are permitted within the zone pursuant to 365-58A6 of the ordinance. It's bound by multifamily residential development, apartment buildings on northeast and west sides, and there's retail uses on the south side across Blackwood Clementon Road, which lie within the borough of Pine Hill. And with that, I don't have any objection to the completeness or the minor site plan waiver being granted on the condition that the applicant answer our questions and give us the information that we're looking for in my letter dated September 15th. So why don't you tell us a little bit, what days and hours, go ahead, I'm sorry, you gotta swear them in, I'm sorry, Kate.
Okay, who's going to be testifying now?
This is going to be Muhammad Kareem.
Muhammad
Kareem?
Kareem,
K-A-R-I-M.
K-A-R-I-M.
Yes.
Okay. And will you be the only witness?
I also have a landlord.
Alexanian is the witness.
Vaughn Alexandria, he's the owner of the complex.
Alexanian.
Oh,
Okay, gentlemen, if you could raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the whole truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the business? What are the hours and days of operation proposed?
So the business is going to be regular pizzeria and restaurant, and the days of operation. The days of operations is going to be from Monday to Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then Friday to Saturday, it's going to be 11 a.m. Sorry, Friday to Sunday, it's going to be 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Just because it's the weekends and plus Friday, usually pizzerias are more busy.
Okay.
Also, we are planning to not have any tables present within the facility, just due to just mainly for the beginning, wanting to make delivery service. And we will be serving all sorts of pizzeria-related restaurant food, as well as dinners and hoagies and the burgers of that sort.
So you're not planning...
For a number of employees.
Hold on one second. You're not planning on having any dine-in operation even after this COVID situation goes away someday?
At the moment, we don't have it in our planning, but obviously, if we are planning to do maybe just maximum of 2 tables or so.
So it's just pickup and delivery at this point, correct?
That's right. That's
but he
correct.
might add tables later, he said.
It's not going to change anything.
It's not going to change anything? Okay.
How many employees, Mr. Kareem?
Yes, and for number of employees, we are starting with 4 to 5. So 4 to the minimum, and then 5, if necessary.
Can't get as high as it goes.
Sorry.
Can you speak into your phone a little louder? We're having trouble hearing you, Mr. Kareem.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. What kind of waste do you anticipate? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm not sure how much you heard, so if you want me to repeat anything, feel free to let me know.
We heard everything.
We heard it. It was
We'll
just
let
hard.
Jeff continue with you, okay?
What types of waste do you anticipate generating there?
I'm sorry, what kinds of what?
Waste.
Waste.
Trash.
Oil, stuff like that.
So I guess you're going to have a grease trap, oil, you're going to have to dispose of,
Right,
and
yep.
regular food product.
That's correct. Yes, we are planning to have a grease trap and have proper equipment to dispose trash and all that, all those things of nature.
Okay, you're going to have trucks pick up those dumpsters, and how often does that happen?
That's twice a week. At the moment, the ones that are there, we can speak to the Crown Fried Chicken and see if they're able to use the same trash cans. If not, we can speak with the landlord and everything, and then if necessary, we can have our own.
Okay.
But, it does right now get picked up twice a week. If necessary, we can do one.
We'll do more if necessary. And the next comment was about the containers being out front. They're a little unsightly. So hoping maybe if there was a way they could be relocated towards the rear of the property and screened a little better just for appearance sake. Is that something that you're willing to do?
Yes, definitely. I spoke to the landlord about that.
Okay. How about the signage? Are you going to use the existing sign template there?
Yeah, the template-wise, yes, at the moment.
Okay.
If we want to make it bigger or something, we can definitely submit application for that.
Okay, as long as it meets the signage, or as long as it meets our standards in the ordinance, you won't need a variance. But if it's bigger or not of the nature that we allow, you'd have to come back.
Cool.
There's just there was some debris and refuse I noticed along the site. Are you going to pick that up? Mostly along the fence
definitely.
lines. I'm sure it's most of it's probably not from the business, but something that needs to be cleaned up.
Makes sense. Yep.
You going to have security cameras,
Yes, we're planning to have security cameras there.
and you'll clear that all with the chief.
5 cameras there already. Sorry, 4 cameras already there. But we are planning to they have the security cameras present all the time.
Okay, and just make sure you submit whatever your measures are going to be to the police department so that you can get their blessing. That's something that we ask of all our businesses that come in before us.
Okay. Yep.
And then you need a CO before you open the business. Other than that, I don't have anything else in my letter, unless anybody has any questions or comments for me in particular.
Anybody from the board have any questions? Okay.
Okay, Mr. Is it Alexandria?
Open to the public, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to open to the public.
Hello.
All right. Is anyone from the public of Lindenwold wish to speak? If they have anything to say about this application, please give your name and address and your concern. No one from the public? Okay, we're going to cancel. We'll close that. Go ahead, Kate.
Mr. Alexandra, I wasn't certain who was speaking during your testimony, but you are the owner of the property, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and is it in your own name, or do you have another name that holds title?
It's AMA 95 LLC.
Okay, and so when the board's engineer went over a couple of things, like in terms of putting the trash enclosure in the rear and cleaning up the sites, will you be willing to do that?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right. On application JLUB 20-7, could I have a motion?
So moved. I'll second that.
Could I put some conditions on here?
Yes, we
Okay,
can add the conditions.
Okay, this is the application for minor site plan and change of use. The applicant has indicated they're not going to be doing any exterior site improvements, and also that the restaurant use is a permitted use within the zone. So the only conditions that have come up this evening would be this. Conditions of approval is that the security and surveillance measures that they add to this particular space should be reviewed and approved by the borough's police department. That prior to operation, that the applicant will get a certificate of occupancy from the zoning officer. And lastly, the conditions noted on the property, which is the relocation of the trash dumpster, the clearing of the site debris, they will be taken care of either by the applicant or the property owner. And so those are the only conditions that came up this evening.
Okay. All right, we had a motion and a second with those conditions.
Mayor Birch made the motion,
Motion.
and Mr. Wells second.
Second? Yes.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Mayor Birch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vandergriff.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mr. Lankowski.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, Mohammed, congratulations.
Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck, gentlemen. All right, our next
Thank you very much. Have a
Okay.
good evening.
All right, good evening. Our next application is JLUB 20-8, that's Center for Family Services, 20 North White Horse Pike, Block 21-1, Lot 5, change in use from empty building to offices. Are you there, gentlemen?
Yes. This is Jeffrey Daniels from the law firm Lindenwold and Friedman on behalf of the applicant, the Center for Family Services. And also on the phone is Charles Vansert. He's a fact witness and representative on behalf of the applicant. Charles, you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'd ask that you or Mr. Ansert in, please.
Yes.
okay, so again, could you give me the names of the parties that I'm swearing in?
Yes, Charles Ansert.
Could you spell that last name?
A-N,
Go ahead, Charles.
I'm sorry, A-N-S-E-R-T.
Okay.
Much like the last, oh, did you get everybody?
Okay, is anyone else testifying?
No, that's it.
That's it.
Much like the last application, would you like me to give a
Yes.
quick summary?
Please.
So before I swear, let me swear them in here,
Okay.
and could you give me your address, Mr. Insert?
The address of the firm is 584 Benson Street, Camden, New Jersey.
Okay, if you raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the whole truth?
Yes.
All right, Kate, this is another application for a minor site plan waiver with a change of use for Center for Family Services. The proposed use is of an existing 1,000-square-foot, one-story vacant office building for office space at 29 North White Horse Pike. That's right across from the municipal building here. The building was most recently used as an accounting office. There are 6 parking spaces, no handicap parking spaces, and nothing's been submitted to indicate whether any interior or exterior improvements are proposed with the property. Situated within the B2 Highways Business Zoning District. There are office uses on the east and west side. I said the municipal buildings across the pike here on the north side, and on the south side there is a single-family residential neighborhood. Office and professional uses are permitted in the B2 pursuant to 365-58C and 365-67A of the Borough Code. We did review for completeness, and we have no objection to the minor site plan waiver or the deeming of the application complete, provided that the information that we requested in this letter and anything that the board might request be satisfied this evening. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Daniels again.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I'm basically going to call the general comments and just review report dated September 15, 2020, requesting various items of testimony regarding the proposed application. Mr. Answer, what is the applicant proposing to use the property for?
The Center for Family Services is a not-for-profit social service agency, and we will be using this as part of the state job readiness workforce development program.
And what sort of services specifically will be provided at the property?
So the people that work there are specialists in helping people write resumes, doing job search, teaching them interview skills, helping them find retraining opportunities. It's a pretty sophisticated workforce development program.
And the people that would be seeking those services, would they be the general public or would they be program participants?
No, in order to receive services through the Center for Family Services, you have to be a client. People don't just walk in off the street. Many of these people are referred to as through other county opportunities, so it's not open to the general public.
But are people going to be...
What will the hours of operation be?
I heard somebody...
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
And how many employees do you propose at the property?
3.
And what are the number of anticipated participants at the property?
This is a program that is very focused, so maybe there would be 4 clients per week.
And is the applicant proposing any interior or exterior improvements to the property?
None.
And with regard to trash, what sort of trash services will be provided at the property?
So the landlord who operated the accounting services that were in there coincidentally used the same company that the Center for Family Services used, Waste Management. So we are an organization that participates in recycling. So Waste Management would handle both our recycling and our trash disposal. But the light volume here with 3 employees, we don't anticipate there being much of an impact to what we're going to be doing.
And how often will there be trash and recycling pickup?
Yeah, we talked to Waste Management. We think that this will be a minimum of once a week, but if need be, we would increase it, but we would start out at once a week.
And regarding ADA compliance, the board's engineer stated that there's no ADA compliant parking spaces on the site. Does the applicant have the ability to schedule these services for physically disabled participants at other locations that are controlled by CFS?
Sure, the Center for Family Services has less than a mile away on the same bus route, a facility, Family Success Center that we run down the street. So if one of the case managers here was helping somebody who had difficulty using the steps, we would just simply schedule that appointment down the street at our Family Success Center, which is completely handicap accessible. It's a 1-story barrier-free building.
That meets the requirements.
And all,
Could you tell me where that center is? Could you give me the name and the location of that center that you would be directing the handicapped people to?
Yeah, it is the Family Center for Family. I don't have the, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the address, but I can send it to you.
If you could just give me the town, that's all.
I think it's right down the street on the border of Clemens.
Okay. You can proceed.
okay, thank you. And Mr. Hanson, is the Center for Family Services proposing any signage?
So there's existing signage there. We would overlay that and be in complete compliance with the requirements of whatever municipal ordinance there is.
And if you propose signage that exceeded those requirements, would the applicant make an application to the borough to have that signage approved? And in the review report under comment 7, there's a comment regarding the deteriorated, overgrown landscaping at the property, and how is that going to be addressed?
So I've spoken with the owner about this, and this will all be taken care of prior to the certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
Is the applicant proposing any security measures at the property?
No, we'll be conducting business on a 9-to-5 schedule. We don't, pretty light intended use for the building.
And you're not going to have any cash transactions or monetary transactions on the property that would warrant security?
No, none of our clients pay a fee for their services, so none of that takes place.
If I don't have any additional questions, answered, I think
We did have one other concern that came up in the interim.
If you have any additional questions, Mr. Answer's available to answer any questions
Firstly, with a security camera, the borough's trying to get everybody to have everybody to have cameras to help assist with our police department, and, you know, every eye in the sky, so to speak, helps. Will you be willing to put a camera in, just to be part of that?
I mean, does the municipality have some specs, or something that we would just spec out and tell the chief of police?
Typically, you select it and then go to the chief of police, and he says yes or no, and typically whatever is proposed is usually accepted. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything super high tech or anything that's going to cost you an arm and a leg. It's just something that we're trying to get all of our businesses to comply with.
Sure, we'd be happy to participate.
Okay, and then there was one other concern that had come up in discussion with people making left-hand turns out of there. That's sort of a dangerous area. Would you be willing to put up a no left-hand turn sign coming out of the driveway, being as it's so narrow and it's not easy to see, and there's a curve right there in the hill?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question here on the, we did have testimony that you do have a dumpster that will be serviced by Waste Management. Is the dumpster in a trash enclosure, or is it just placed on the site?
It's placed on the site in the far rear of the property.
Okay.
It was out of the way. I mean, I wouldn't make them put an enclosure in, because that's not going to, I don't think you're going to have a lot of nuisance waste.
Okay, I'd like to open this application to the public. Would anybody from the public like to speak on this application? I'm going to close to the public. Okay, can we list the conditions so we can go on this application?
Okay, so this application here is for a waiver of minor site plan and a change of use from a vacant former accounting office into an office that will be utilized by the Center for Family Services. So again, they're not proposing any exterior improvements or interior improvements, and their use does comply with the B2 zone. So if the board was inclined to do things, we'll have some conditions that came up tonight, and they will be conditions of approval. One would be that the landscaping in and about this site will be addressed, and that's the overgrown vegetation, refreshing the mulch, and planting, of which the applicant indicated they would do. The applicant also indicated, and this would be a condition of approval, that security and surveillance measures will be installed, and they will be reviewed and approved by the borough police. Another condition is the applicant will install a no left-hand turn signal sign at the entrance going into, what street would that be, the Pike?
Yes.
The Pike, okay. And that the office will not open until there is a CO that has been issued. And if you do need county approval, you will get that. And those are the only conditions.
They don't need county.
No, it's a state road, so.
State road.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
I'm not going to ask for a
Yeah.
letter from them. They're not changing any of the access. We're making it safer, so.
Okay, and so those would be the only conditions.
Okay, with the list of conditions that they just spoke of, would someone like to make a motion on JLUB 20-8?
I'll make that motion. To approve.
Second.
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Mayor Roach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vandergriff.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick, I'm sorry, Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mr. Minkowski.
Yes. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
luck.
Have a good night. Take care.
Okay. Next, we have application JLUB 20-9. That's Scott Shine, 659 Blackwood Clementon Road, Block 240, Lot 58-03. This is a change in use a vacant unit to general household product retail store. Just to give us a little overview before.
You want to make sure the applicant's here
Oh,
first,
yeah, we'll
and
make
then
sure they're here.
swear them in, and then I can,
Scott, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Is there anybody else?
I'm here too, Robert Ford, Mr. Zhang. Yes.
Robert Borby as
Yes.
the attorney.
Okay, Mr. Bordy, are you just going to have Mr. Zhang testify or anyone else?
No, he would be the only one that would testify.
Okay. So if you start, if you could raise your right hand, would you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the whole truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
okay. This is another minor site plan change of use for Zhang Retail Store. It's an existing vacant retail space within the Laurelwood Shopping Center there at 659 Blackwood Clementon Road. That's County Route 534. The other spaces in the strip mall are Laurelwood Liquor Store, A1 Hair Braiding and Hair Salon, African Market, Clementon Family Practice, and Beauty Mart. The retail space that's subject to this application was previously occupied by a barber shop. The sizes of the proposed and existing concurrent uses haven't been provided. The site contains 48 parking spaces, including 3 handicap accessible spaces. Nothing's been submitted to indicate whether any interior or exterior improvements are proposed in conjunction with the application. Strip mall fronts on the north side of Blackwood Clementon Road within the B1 Neighborhood Business District, bound by similar retail strip on the east side. Professional office use building on the west side that was in here, that was the Spectacare Foundation, I believe, who was approved roughly a year ago. Wooded area and a storage facility bound the site on the north side, and there's a religious use on the south side across Blackwood Clementon Road, which I believe is also in Pine Hill Borough there. They're seeking change of use to the retail use, and that's general household retail stores are permitted, and that's what I understand this is based on what was submitted by the applicant in the B1 zone pursuant to 36558A of the Borough Code. And again, provided that supplemental information is or testimony is provided this evening, I don't have any objection to the site plan waiver or the application being deemed complete, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Borby at this point.
Yeah, Mr. Zhang, what is the square footage of the inside of that building, of the unit?
It's 1,400 square foot.
Okay. Now, what are your hours of operation?
It's from 9 to 8, Monday, 7 days a week, with the exception of holidays. I'm not planning to open up business for holidays, so, but it'll be from 9 to 8, 7 days a week.
How many employees?
Will be currently, I'm planning to have 2.
Okay. And will you have 2 employees the entire time the store's open?
No, I'm assuming weekend will be busier, so on Saturday and Sunday I'm planning to have 2, and on Monday to Friday will be only 1 person in the store.
Okay. And can you give us an idea what the term was the general operational description of the store?
What do you mean, like?
Well, let's put it this way. What type of product will be sold at the store?
Yeah, it's, like I mentioned, it will be general household products. I'm talking about like general household like cleaning supplies, like Clorox, disinfectants, curtains, blinds, bed sheets, liners, floor mats, like fork and spoons, pots and pans, like all those kitchen supplies. And I will have wall hangers, and pots and mirrors, things like that.
Would this be like what you would call a general store?
Yeah, like it'd be general store that used in the household.
How will the waste management be handled at the store? Trash pickup frequency and recycling practices?
Yeah, that I will have a local waste management company to take care of that probably once a week. I believe they will have a dumpster supplied at the back of the store.
They do.
Now, if it turns out that you'll need more than one pickup a week, are you agreeable to have more than one pickup a week if needed?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, there is two handicapped accessible parking spaces, and it looks like the appropriate signs are not there. Are you going to contact the owner of the development or the shopping center first?
Yes, I actually spoke to the owner of the shopping center yesterday, and he's going to replace the missing sign. And regarding the ramp, he was telling me that the code enforcement officer was out at the property back in June of this year, and he's only requesting the additional 10% parking space, and also owner was saying like if it's possible because he's planning to repaving the parking lot, and he's asking for the board to see if it's possible to postpone the time that repairing that ramp.
Can he do the ramp when he paves it? Can he put a new asphalt ramp that's a little flatter or not as steep in when he does the paving then?
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay.
That's the plan. Yeah. But he
That should
until
be in any resolution that will be taken care of.
At the time of paving, that's fine.
I don't have a set a time and date that he will fix that, but I'm planning. From what he was telling me, it should be sometime, like maybe sometime next year, like when the weather gets real nice.
Yeah, we're not going to make it a term of our agreement that we're going to override the code enforcement.
Yeah, if the code enforcement official says it's okay, then it's okay. It just didn't look right to me, but if he's
Did he get a violation from code enforcement?
No, I think it's when they had the last change of use at this strip mall. There was a comment in my letter. It was probably the same comment, I think. I probably saw the same thing.
But he said code enforcement was out there.
Right. I'm just making sure we don't challenge the code enforcement.
No, we do not.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the code enforcement approved that.
He says it's okay, it's okay.
Do we want to put in as a condition that
When they do
be
pave
paid,
it,
that
yes.
they
Without a time
address
limit?
the ramp?
Yes.
Absolutely. Put in a new ramp.
Yeah, that would be applicable, I think.
Okay.
Now, your sign, are you going to comply with the ordinances of the town with respect to the sign?
Yeah, actually there's an existing sign box currently in place, so I'm just basically replacing the panel.
Okay.
Like,
You don't have color
with
it's not.
I don't have specific color, but if there's a requirement from the council, I would definitely comply with that.
Okay. Now, are you going to meet with the police chief concerning security?
Yes, the surveillance camera. The owner of the shopping center has a few security cameras, like in the back, also at the rear of the shopping center. Okay. And I will check. I will also check with the police department to see what the requirements are, and I would definitely participate in the.
In other words, if it's required in the front, you're going to comply with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. At this point, I have no further questions for this applicant.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that they understand that we're not going to give them the permission to override the code enforcement officer, that's all. Yeah.
Hello? Yes, sir.
Okay, go back on.
Yeah, I want to verify, I want this on record, that we're going to verify with the code enforcement that they give it the year, because,
Excuse me, the mayor's speaking at this time, please.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I just want to verify with the code enforcement, that he gave them a year, because I don't see him doing that. And I just need to know for sure, otherwise it's got to go on here. Because that ramp's got to be handicap ramp.
Medical use right there, that was my concern.
Exactly.
Right in front of that ramp. The day I was there looking at the site, there was an elderly man that wasn't getting along too well that had to go up that ramp, so, it's not, you've got a medical practice right there, that's got to be right, one way or another.
Is that the Lindenwold liquor?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello?
I'm sorry, but when Lawwood Liquor came in here, didn't they say this, didn't we talk about this?
We did, I don't think it was done.
It wasn't.
But maybe the code enforcement official said it was okay, maybe that's why it wasn't done, that's why we need to.
So what we're saying is that we're going to verify with the code enforcement official that in fact the ADA measures on the site are acceptable. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And if they're not acceptable, if we don't get that verification, what is the condition we're going to impose? That they do the
repair it within 30 to 60 days?
Do the
something like
signage and repair the ramp.
I think they already agreed on the signage, right? So.
I have,
Yeah, we have no objection to repairing the ramp, it's where the haircut. That would be decided by the code enforcement.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm going to put you on speaker. Kate's going to swear you in, okay?
Mr. Brewer, we have the owner here.
We have the code enforcement. We have code enforcement, Mr. Hans, on the phone right now.
Put on speaker. There you go.
Wayne?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Kate's going to swear you in, and
Okay.
I have you by the other phone so they can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, for the record, could you state your name?
Wayne Holmes.
Okay, and you are the code official for the borough of Lindenwold.
Yes.
Okay. So if you could raise your right hand, would you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the whole truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay, we had some testimony this evening with regard to the handicapped accessible measures on this property. Have you been out to inspect the property in the recent months, and did you make any conclusions with respect to the compliance or non-compliance?
I was out at the property, and they did strike the property. They did mark handicap ramps. He was told to put one on each side, or not ramps, I'm sorry, handicap parking spots on each side of the parking lot, one towards the beauty store and one towards the liquor store. As far as the ramps, I would have to go back out there and see if there's any ramps there. There's no grade, but I don't know if there's any ramps there, to be honest with you. I did not know if we made him do that, because he wasn't doing no construction, so does he have to be ADA?
Okay.
Okay, Jeff said there's one ramp out.
There is a ramp that's in front of the medical practice there, but it doesn't look like it meets
Is it
ADA.
always to the right of the building or left?
No, it's right in front of it. It's just like where a parking space would be. It just goes right up to I guess the sidewalk's maybe 3 or 4 inches above the level of the pavement. It's not really a curb. It's sort of just like an elevated sidewalk lane.
Okay.
So I guess what we're asking for you, Wayne, if you went out there to look at it, how many days, and you weren't happy with it, how many days would you agree to have them fix this ramp?
If they have to fix the ramp, I would give them 30 days, because winters could be coming along, so they don't want to be concrete after that. It's going to start getting too cold.
Okay. All right, then. All right, well, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
If you want me to tell them to put another ramp in there, I will call the owner of the property, which I've talked to before, and I don't think he'd have a problem doing it.
All right, okay, all right.
Okay, well, what we have here is the applicant did indicate that the owner of this property is planning on repaving the area in the next, maybe next year, which is well off, okay? So, I guess it would really depend on what you find when you go out there with the ramp. If it is really egregious violation.
Tomorrow and look at it.
Excuse me, Wayne, by any strange chance, did you discuss repaving the parking lot or the handicap ramp with the owner at all?
Did I talk to him about repaving the parking lot?
Repaving the parking lot or the handicap ramp at all?
You're real low, or say now.
He wants to know if you had had the owner discussed with you about repaving the parking lot or not.
No, I do not remember that.
I have one question for the official. Would it be the owner's obligation to put the ramps in, or the ramp pursuant to the ADA rules?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to do it if it has the ADA approved, yes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it wouldn't be my client's obligation, would it be? Okay.
Now, I don't know who you are, so I don't really know.
He's the attorney.
You don't know who I am?
No.
I'm the attorney for the applicant.
For the applicant.
Okay.
We're just making it clear here, Wayne, that if this application is approved, that we don't have this, we are not going to override your jurisdiction in this matter as, you know, your due process, whether the ramp's correct or not. Like they're saying, they're saying they're going to pave the parking lot. What happens if they never pave it and the ramp is not in bad shape and it never gets done? That's what we're calling here tonight.
That's what I'm saying. I would give them 30 days now to make sure it's done within 30 days.
Okay. All right. That's
That's my opinion.
Okay. I agree. All right.
Then that would be the owner, is that correct?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, but here's the thing, we do have the owner consenting to the application. And so while we're not going to require your client to do these things, we want to note that condition in the approval as an incentive for the owner to do it now so that his prospective tenant can get into his space.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, that would be the impetus for the owner to do it and get paid rent by my client.
Yes.
Yep. That's the whole idea.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're done with Wayne.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Thank you very much, Wayne.
Thank you. Good night. Have a good night.
Thanks, Wayne.
Wayne.
All right. Okay, let's continue.
Does anyone from the board have any questions of my client or the engineer?
Are you through with the everything? Yeah, you're through with the testimony. Okay. Is there any questions from the board?
Okay, just for my own clarification, because I'll be drafting the resolution, there will not be any food products sold here. We're just talking about household, tangible things. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, no food, no. Nope. And you can put that in the resolution.
Okay.
All right. You know, I'd like to open to the public. All right, I'd like to close the meeting to the public. Okay, Kate, would you care to discuss the conditions that will go with this application so it can be voted upon?
Okay, so the application is for a waiver of minor site plan and a change of use. This is a unit in a strip center, a Laurelwood Center. The applicant is not proposing any exterior or interior changes. It is in the B1 zone, and a retail operation is a permitted use. So in that regard, the relief can be granted. However, there are some conditions that have been spoken about this evening, which would be a condition of that approval. One would be that the security and surveillance measures will be, that the applicant will install, will be reviewed and approved by the borough's police department. The applicant will not operate his store until a CO has been issued for the premises. As a condition of this approval, the owner of the property will install compliant handicap signage for the site. In addition, the owner of the property, as a condition of approval, if the code official for the borough finds that the ramp that is present at the site is not compliant with the ADA requirements, the owner of the premises will have to address that and correct that deficiency within 30 days. And I believe that are the only conditions that we had.
Okay. All right, on application JLUB 20-9, that'll include all conditions that Kate just discussed. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are we putting in Wayne's recommendation of the 30 days into the resolution?
Yes.
Did you say
Yes.
that? I'm sorry, I may have zoned.
Yes, that was included, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and that's including the 30 days if Wayne. Do I have a motion on JLUB 20-9?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Roach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vandergriff.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mr. Minkowski.
Yes. Okay, all right, good luck to you, Scott.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
All right, good luck. All right, next I'd like to open the meeting to the public. Is anybody from the public out there who would like to speak on any matters? Please give us your name and your address and your concern. Okay, we're going to close to the public. Now the motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Everybody say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.